So quick question, have you ever thought about just leaving the country? Like your country, your home country, where you've called home your entire life, whether it's for adventure or hopefully not for criminal behavior. I'll let it slide for this video. But have you ever thought about leaving your current situation for an adventure, for something outside of the realm of possibility for your current life? Well, if you do, and you are one of those individuals, you might have the makings of an expatriate. You can find expats in all different shapes and sizes, but the number one thing that they have is they want to go to a different place in the world and become a part of that culture. They want to find new experiences, have a different lifestyle, see what the rest of the world has to offer. And in this video, we're going to talk about a few reasons why people become expats. Let's roll the intro. So just real quick before we get started on this video, my name is Alexander Howell, and this channel deals with travel and real estate and international real estate. So if you think that you might like something like that, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and that will let you know anytime that one of these videos goes live. All of my contact information is down below, which I will also remind you of at the end of this video. But if you want to become a member of this channel or a patron, please feel free to also click down to that description down below, and you'll see how to do that to support this channel. And thank you, by the way, to all of my patrons and the members of this channel. Let's continue. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about today is something that's a little close to home for me, because it's one of the reasons that I've had difficulty with our current home being built in Mexico being something that I look at as a summer home or a winter home or just not my home all the time, but I kind of want it to be my home all the time. So just as a qualifier, my name is Alexander Howell, and my wife and I are currently building a home in Merida, Mexico that is this close to completion, and we are ludicrously excited about it. But every time I get the pictures of what it looks like day to day, I get more and more excited to not just be down there at random, not just to wait for retirement to be down there, but to be down there full time right now. And part of the reason for that is it's beautiful. Here's some pictures. What do you think? Type in the comments down below. But outside of the cool place and the cool home, one of the things that I absolutely love is the fact that you are moving into a different culture than your own. It expands your knowledge of the world. It expands your knowledge about where you come from, as well as different places. You start realizing that all the geopolitical nonsense that you hear in the world doesn't have anything to do with the people that are actually there. Now, I will give the caveat that this is most of the time. I'm sure that there are certain places in the world where you wouldn't want to go ever. But at the same time, when you see things on, let's just say, major news networks that may or may not lie sometimes, you can get a little frustrated and you can go, I don't like this country, I don't like this country, and I have this opinion. The fact of the matter is, most of the time, that's the government. It's not the people. And the people are absolutely fantastic. We've had a tumultuous relationship with Mexico throughout the United States history. But the fact of the matter is, when you go down there, I'm going to start counting the number of times I say the fact of the matter is. But if you actually go down to Mexico, what you are going to find is an absolutely amazing country full of kind, wonderful people, amazing cultures, amazing history, that while there are some contentious issues with them in the United States, the fact of the matter, did it again, didn't I? The truth of the matter, which makes it way different, is that it is an absolutely incredible place. The culture, the spaces, the history, you can't beat it. And that's like that anywhere else in the world. So that's one of the reasons, one of the number one reasons why people end up going to a different place, is just to discover what they don't know. And if you have children, just as a caveat, it can mean a lot to them as well. Not only are they experiencing their homeland in your home country, but they're also experiencing different places around the world. They get to see different cultures and appreciate that while we are all different, there are so many similarities in the human race that it's absolutely beautiful. So for children especially, it can be an amazing, amazing experience. Now, the second thing that I want to talk about is the cost of living. Now, some places you go to and the cost of living is incredibly high. If you are moving from Mexico to New York City, it's going to be a bit of chaos because the cost of living is so much. But vice versa, if somebody from New York City, or even a place like where I'm from in Kansas City, which is typically looked at a fairly inexpensive place to live in the United States, when you go down to a place like Merida, Mexico, or anywhere really in the state of Yucatan outside of maybe Cancun, Playa del Carmen, you're going to see a significant drop in your cost of living. Now, this includes everything from real estate, food, taxes, all that kind of stuff. Not the least of which is healthcare, which if you're somebody that's older and thinking about that life decision, it might be something to look into. But the cost of living is significantly less. Now, you are definitely going to run into a couple of different things that mess with that a little bit, especially when you think about electronics, certain, brands from the United States. But for the most part, the cost of living is definitely something to consider if you are moving somewhere, if you're thinking about becoming an expatriate. A former coworker of my wife, a good friend of mine, ended up taking a tour of the entire world where she stayed in a bunch of different places. And one of the things she said was that she absolutely fell in love with Thailand, which, by the way, one of the places I want to go. But she fell in love with the people, with the countryside, with the views, with everything there. But it was also very beneficial because it was extremely easy to live. The cost of living was significantly less than what it is here. Now, as I've said in other videos, I don't think you should take advantage of this. I think you should always take care of any local population where you are. But if it's something that you're thinking about in order to save money, or if you're in retirement and you know that you're on fixed income, the cost of living is one of the ultimate reasons to become an expatriate. But the next reason has to do with healthcare costs. And I know that the United States has an absolutely amazing healthcare system, even though we disagree many times on how the insurance should be handled and what should be covered and all that kind of stuff. I understand that. But the fact of the matter is, the United States does have an absolutely amazing healthcare system, as does Canada, as do several other countries in the world. However, when you look at the cost in certain areas, and I will say, especially the United States, it can get ridiculously expensive. So one of the reasons that people become expatriates is because healthcare costs can get so huge here that they end up going somewhere else. Now, I think that does say a lot about the United States as opposed to other places, but it's something to consider and one of the drivers for some people. Now, for this next one, I have to explain a little bit. I have a very, very good friend of mine he's basically a brother. We met a couple of years back, and I just could not have immediately been more impressed with a human being and felt like I had just met a friend faster than I met this individual. Now, I'm not going to mention him by name because he works for a company, and I'm sure there's a lot of liability and stuff like that here, even on this YouTube channel, right? But here we go. But this very good friend of mine, I asked him because I was making this video, can you tell me about the educational opportunities? Because I know that many people go to different countries because of the educational opportunities that they have there. And I just said, can you give me a little bit to explain what's going on and your thoughts? And he was kind enough to send me these messages. Now, this is going to be very unprofessional for a YouTube video, but I am going to read off my phone. So this is his response. Honest answer, and feel free to paraphrase this, which I'm not going to. I'm going to read it directly. An older mentor in my company had ascended to insane levels in the company, and he was only about 36 or 37. From New Zealand, got the opportunity to ask him how he had such an impressive career trajectory. His answer was, I never said no to an opportunity from my company, and I took the advice of people senior to me to show them I was willing to do whatever it took. I asked him about working in several different countries at that age. He replied, the easiest way to show, and I think this is important, the easiest way to show a company that you can handle the challenges of being an expat is to complete an educational step in a foreign country. It's a huge risk to a company to move you overseas the first time and hope that you can adjust to a new culture and not get homesick, etc. If you've shown the company that you can complete a degree in another country, you're a step ahead. Studying abroad for a few months isn't enough. You have to see it through. And that was the quote from his friend, or his coworker, and he followed it up with, and he was right to a huge extent. You can't prepare for all the unforeseen eventualities that you will encounter as an expat. For example, I read everything I could about Germans, he was in Germany obviously, and knew what to expect based on social norms, but I could not prepare for the emotional reaction that I would have based on normal behaviors that would be considered rude to someone socialized in the US, or the way that Germans have a tendency to interrupt others when they talk over each other. It's completely normal over there, but it felt rude and infuriating to me when I was fresh in from the country. It became normal after some time, but it took years, not months, like you would expect to experience in an exchange program. Other reasons. I didn't know at the time, but Germany has a better education system. And again, this is open to interpretation. I'm saying what he said, and this is a very intelligent doctor friend of mine. Their universities are committed to a true mechanistic-based science research. The majority of translational work in Germany is done by research institutes or private industry there. In the US, universities prioritize translational research, leading to patents that can be commercialized and offload the risk associated with the failure of that research to taxpayers in the form of research grants. So the incentives are different for promotion on an academic path, and the researchers follow the incentive. And the result is that Germany trains better fundamental scientists. You got through that, right? Sorry I wasn't looking at the camera the whole time, but I wanted to read that verbatim because that was a true interpretation of why you can go to a different country to be an expat for educational purposes. So he's not just a very intelligent individual, but he has had an experience that many do have, but not many know about. So again, educational opportunities. Brought to you by one of my smartest friends. I know multiple doctors. That's weird, right? Like, not just doctors like, oh, I go to my doctor. Like, a friend. That's pretty cool. I'm not a doctor. So we go from the educational opportunities and how hard it is to work for a company over there and get a degree to the opposite end of that, and that is a more relaxed lifestyle. Anybody that has been to a country, and let's say a country like Costa Rica or Mexico, they can probably tell you that it is a more relaxed lifestyle. Now, there are definitely countries like Japan where you cannot say that it is a more relaxed lifestyle, but as far as countries that are close to the US, you might find that there is a more relaxed lifestyle. That doesn't mean that people don't work hard, that doesn't mean that people try less. What it means is that there is a different mode of working. Work is not the only thing in your life. Family is, experiences are, and this also might tie in to the cost of living. If you are somebody that's on Social Security, or if you're somebody that's trying to retire early, you might find yourself in a situation where you don't just want to go somewhere to work. And in that situation, if the cost of living is less, you may find yourself in a very good position where you can actually enjoy life, which I think is something we all should strive to do, but we rarely achieve. So this next one might be a little controversial, but it has to do with political unrest, which is very, very real. And by the way, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, I'm not talking necessarily about the United States. I know people threatened to move to Canada when a certain president was elected, and they threatened to move everywhere else when another one was. I don't buy into that stuff. I think you should be proud of your country, and everybody goes through turmoil, and if that's the worst we've got, then fine. But there are real situations in different countries where it's not just about being a refugee, which is a very tough thing to do, and you should respect everybody that's going through that. But what I'm talking about is if you see political unrest and you do disagree with it, maybe it is time to leave. I mean, in recent history, we've seen it, whether you agree or not, but it might be time to just say, the most important thing in the world to me is for me to feel comfortable in my country, and if I don't believe that things are going well here, I'm gonna find a country where my beliefs are solid. And you go there. And again, that's a controversial take, but it's not unreal. And honestly, just overall, no matter how you feel like your country is going, escaping a bad political situation overall, or one that you interpret as bad, is something to think about. In all honesty, I think everybody, no matter what country they're in, the most stable to the most unstable, should look at, is there a way for me to get out if I need to? I know that sounds like an end of the world mentality, and it's not meant to be. I'm not trying to be dystopian here, but I think it's a smart way to think of things. I love my life in the United States, but if something happens, do I have a plan? If the answer is yes, I'm probably more comfortable in my life overall. If it's no, might be a little bit more worried. And for those of you who stuck to this video to this point, I have saved the best for last, at least in my opinion, and that is the new world in which we can truly work from anywhere. Now, this isn't true for every single career in the world, but almost every career that we have seen at this point can be done online. The internet is a fickle master, but at the same time, you can work from Thailand, Japan, Indonesia, Mexico, Brazil, the United States. You can work from anywhere in the world as long as the internet is solid and not censored. But as long as you have good internet, you're able to work from pretty much anywhere in the world in multiple different professions. So if you are a person that says, I want to travel the world and become an expatriate in this place because I traveled and I found that I really enjoyed that place, you now have the ability to do that as long as you have a solid internet connection, a good computer, and the job lined out for you. But if you are thinking about traveling and you have the ability, I would absolutely do it, and do it while you're working. So that's the video, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Alexander Howell. This is my channel. If you don't mind, and if you are here at this point, please feel free to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. That will let you know anytime that one of my videos goes live. Also, all of my social media links, whether you want to send me a text message, whether you want to send me an email if you've got a really long question, if you want to see Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, any of my live streams, all of those links are down below. I will tell you that normally at Alexander from KC is where you can find me, and Instagram at Alexander from KC is normally where I post the most. But if you want to text me at 816-727-7740, always feel free to do that if you have a question for me, and emailing me just lets me know that you have a longer question, and I'm going to commit some time to giving you the right answer. Now, on top of that, as I mentioned before, we do have a home in Merida, Mexico, and I've started an absolutely amazing Facebook group if you are thinking about traveling down there, and that is facebook.com/groups/travel, the number 2 Merida. So travel to Merida, the number 2. So facebook.com/groups/travel the number 2, Merida, and you can be a part of an awesome community. And if you want to move down there, let me know. Send me a text, send me an email. I'd love it. Also down below, you will notice that there is the ability to become a member or go to the Patreon. It's basically the same thing, but if you want to help to support this channel, please become a member of this channel. You get a cool dire wolf emblem whenever I'm live streaming or you comment on one of my videos. And if you want to become a patron, obviously, thank you very much for all of that. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the video. Those are reasons that people become expatriates or expats, as it's well known. And that's it. But as always, peace.